Hey, folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the Magic Morning Wood. How's it going? And as always, I'm Ron, and with me is
I'm Ryan Gooselinks.
as a geese making a chain, right? So goose links.
Hmm.
Okay, what's up, Ryan? How are you?
Good. How are you, Ron?
Great, great.
Excellent.
So,
It bodes well.
all right,
Yeah.
let's jump right in, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are here to talk about movies as usual, right? And so we have our algorithm on, and what we do here in the Magic Morning Wood is we are the last movie that we watched, we think of a loose connective thread to help us choose our next movie. We're both choosing movies that the last movie reminded us of for some reason. It could be the actor or the director or the theme or something like that. So, our last movie that we watched
Want
remind
a
me
little
was
help there, Ron?
called it was Carnage.
There we go.
Carnage. I
Good
got it.
man.
So yeah, it's on the tip of my thumb. Carnage.
You almost said
The
the Carnosaur.
Carnosaur. That
Yeah,
was a good one too. Yeah. So that one also was based on a play. I think so.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Hell of a play I've heard, the stage version.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, the Roman Polanski Carnage we just did last time. So we both reacted to that film, and so I decided to go with films based on plays, and so I went with the uh, 2010 uh, film directed by Denis Villeneuve. I believe it's pronounced Incendies.
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 Yeah.
I could
Good as
be
well. Luckily,
wrong.
it's 2010, so it's just just gets under the wire. It's new enough for me to watch,
New
right?
enough for you to
Yeah,
watch. Yes. So
yeah.
yeah, just in the wire. So yeah, good. It's just exactly 16 years old, just in time for
It was
Clyde
just
to
in
get around to
theaters
watching it.
yesterday. Yeah.
You've heard of this movie before, but
Actually, no. Actually, no.
oh, never.
This one was yeah. I knew of Denis Villeneuve's like pre prisoners, pre English language
Mm.
films, and we might talk a little bit about that. But yeah, no, this one, even though it seems to have. I mean, when you mentioned it, I looked it up, and it seems to have made quite a buzz in terms of like being
Mm.
nominated for shit.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and it turns out you had seen it before and totally forgotten.
No, I had seen it before, but I couldn't remember if we did it for this or not.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Yeah. I just couldn't remember if we'd done, yeah, like I know I'd seen it before, although big parts I'd totally forgotten about, including the big twist at the end. I'd actually totally,
Oh, really?
totally forgotten about,
Wow.
which was shocking. I was like, how did I forget that? Anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
so it was
Yeah.
nice because I basically got to watch it all like it was the first time anyway, even though I
That's
had seen
that's like
several
kind
parts
of
of it.
remembering. Oh yeah, Fight Club. That's about those two guys who like hitting each other, right? Like,
So that tells you how bad my web memory is right there. So yeah. So yeah, so Denis Villeneuve 2010 French language film. French language, but also I guess what else they're speaking? They're speaking also Arabic
yeah.
and a little
Well,
yeah, so Arabic so as well.
it's Canadian and a French co-production as well, right? So it's France
Right,
and
yeah.
Canada. Yeah.
Yes. Right, yeah. Filmed, but it's sort of I don't know, did I miss it? But it was sort of unclear exactly where in the Middle East it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It
Well, I think
wasn't,
they've
or but it
deliberately
was in Jordan. Yeah, made it kind
no.
of a generic.
Yeah, well, it's filmed in Jordan because
Yeah,
these things are always filmed in
yeah,
Jordan, right? Because that's
right, yeah,
the safe neutral place you can shoot these things that looks
right.
like other places. But
But
no,
it
it's
wasn't meant to be a
deliberately
specific
not.
place, right?
Huh?
Yes, no, it wasn't meant to be a specific place. So it
No,
was sort of a generic,
yeah,
yeah,
it's I mean
war
you
torn.
can kind of guess it's Lebanon, right? But it's never
Mm,
spelled out. But
right,
most
yeah,
people would kind of guess after a few clues, right? That that's kind of
right, sure,
more or less where it is.
right,
Yeah. Although
yeah,
it's kind of a stand-in for a, a conflicted war zone
mm,
with different ethnic and religious um you know it so it's yeah I think that's why they probably made it a non-specific place for that reason, and also
Right.
because yeah, it's a way of avoiding certain um political
Political
difficulties,
problems.
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Um, yeah, but starring Lubna Azabal and
Mhm.
Melissa Desormeaux-Poulin and Maxime Gaudet, who
Also worth noting
yep,
as well, just to back up what we were just saying. So you said it was based on a play, right? By I'm pronouncing this
mm,
probably wrong, but Wajdi Muawad, maybe.
yeah,
And
something like that. Yeah,
Wajdi Muawad was a refugee from the Lebanese civil war, so that kind of
Lebanon. Right, right.
strengthens
So,
it a bit more.
sure,
And
yeah.
yeah, and
Um,
apparently someone I didn't know this person, I have to admit, Soha Bekak, no, Bekar was that's kind of her real life story is um it's partially based on
based on her
her.
life.
I think she
Right.
was like someone who had been radicalized and attempted a political assassination. So that part is kind of lifted from
Mm,
her life story. But yeah,
right.
the twisty stuff, I don't think that happened to her necessarily.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Not necessarily. Yeah. So, although, who knows, right?
Yeah,
So,
we should give spoiler
um,
alerts, I suppose, at this point. I
yeah,
think we
yeah.
might try and talk about it. I mean, from my point of view, maybe you need to go into it. So just in case we do, spoiler alerts, because we may, I'm
Yeah,
going to try not
yeah.
to, but if you feel the need to go there for, a point you want to make or something like that,
Mm.
then feel free. But just so everyone knows, yeah, big
Big
spoilers
spoilers. Yeah, yeah,
potentially
yeah,
for
yeah.
that one.
And I will say that the reason I actually how I first heard about this movie was it was on a list of like movies with the biggest plot twists.
Ah, okay.
Got a
Okay.
list. Right. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, famous for the plot twist kind of at the end, right? So,
So this
um,
wasn't one of your things that you watched as a Oscar nom thing or anything like that back in the day.
it may have been, but I'm not sure if I was doing my Oscar watch in 2011, so I can't
Right.
remember if it was or not. But I either watched it for that or I watched it because I was like, oh, this sounds like I like a good plot twist, so I'll watch it, and then I watched it, and also I'm a big fan of Denis Villeneuve more than you, I think, right? So I've mentioned
Well,
before that I.
we'll talk about that.
Mm,
Yeah, we'll talk about that
mm,
as we go, I think.
mm, mm.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, so this is sort of a non linear story, kind of jumps around in time, which is I guess kind of part of it.
Mm.
I actually never seen, or actually I'm curious how they would even do this as a play. I'm surprised it started as a play because
Doesn't
it seems
strike
like
you
it's
as a
as a
play
play. Yeah,
material,
it's very
no.
sweeping and grand
Yeah.
and lots of locations and stuff. So it's I'm curious what it would be like as a play. So it's yeah, it's very cinematic
Have you
anyway. So
read the
I'm
play?
not sure if no.
Right.
So I'm wondering how like because again a big part of like adapting a play which tends to be sort of I mean you can have locations in a on a stage but it ends up being more kind of representational and stuff rather or one or a few settings, right? So whereas opposed to but this seems to be like several different settings, very
Yeah.
sweeping deserts and locations and
Yeah.
multicultural international. So I'm really curious what it looked like
Yeah.
as a play and how much Denis Villeneuve and the screenwriters, if there's anyone else other than him,
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
he
Valerie
Valerie
Beaugrand
Beaugrand
Chapin.
Champagne,
Yeah.
yeah, Champagne. So so if they whatever they how much they adapted or made it more kind of cinematic
Yeah.
in the
Well,
book. So
it's not just the fact that it's, not stuck in one room or something like that. The other thing that usually the other identifier you can tell if something is based on a
mm,
play is obviously it's going to be very dialogue heavy, right? I know there are
right,
some
sure,
more experimental plays or whatever, but in
mm,
general, plays are
mm,
quite dialogue driven, right? And
sure,
this
right,
is
yeah,
kind of quite sparse, really. I mean,
mm, mm,
I don't remember any particular like big expository scene or like long
mm,
there are a few monologues actually, maybe if I think about
mm,
it, there's a few. bits you can see maybe that, but in general, it doesn't have a feel of it being dialogue driven, right?
Right. Yeah. So I'll try to summarize, I guess, this story is that
Mm,
opens with a will being read to a woman has died in her to her twins, boy and a girl twins, and they're reading, having the will of their mother being read to them from their kind of family friend who's also their lawyer,
right.
and mom has said that she
He's got a
kind of
lot of
strange,
patience, that man, isn't he?
yeah.
It's like he doesn't have any
Also,
other clients.
yeah, but also like he knew exactly what was in all those letters, right? That he gave them, and so like because he folded, you saw him folding and
Yeah,
putting it in, so he seems like he could have saved them a lot of time.
we
He
yeah
just
we'll get to that because I think there's a lot to be said for the way this plays out in the end. Like yeah, well, when we get there, yeah,
yeah,
carry on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so so he tells them that the mom doesn't want a gravestone or anything like that, at least until they find their father and their brother. And they're both shocked because they were told that their father was dead and that they never had a brother.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there's
also,
this kind
sorry,
of starts with the mystery.
the specifics of a burial are even more like they
Mm,
obviously they bridle it because it's not just I don't want to mark her. She doesn't want any prayers, and she doesn't even want a coffin. She wants to be just
mm,
basically thrown in a hole in the ground, face down, naked, right? So
sure.
so it's
Right.
like particularly kind of jarring for the kids to be like, really? You
Mm,
expect us kind of to treat your body in that way, right?
right, right. And so then and then they were given sort of envelopes. One says for the father, one for the son.
Mm.
They're basically tasked with this mystery to solve the mystery of their mother's past. And so they travel to this unnamed Middle Eastern country, which is sort of war torn, and they go and it jumps back and forth in the timeline with the mother, how the mother when the mother was young and kind of going through her
Yeah.
life, and how she kind of got to the place,
Yeah.
and she
So,
um
sorry, just to be
yeah,
specific,
yeah.
it's not war torn now though. It's like used to be war torn, right? Like when they go,
Yes,
it's in a
right,
it's it has a lot of past, but it's not
sure,
at
right,
war
right, yeah,
anymore.
so
Yeah, yeah,
okay, right, right, yeah, but it was war torn in the past when the mom
right,
was there.
right.
And so she starts by her being sort of excommunicated from her village and her family because she got pregnant,
Mm.
and almost she had fallen in love with the guy, and then basically had um you know
A guy from
and
another
from
group.
another
Yeah,
village or
yeah,
yeah, group or something like that.
yeah.
And then basically he gets killed by her family, and then she gets basically like excommunicated and thrown out and whatever. And so it has to go make her way somewhere else, right? So where they're going to kill her, but end up letting her go. Um,
Yes. Yeah, she ends up in yeah, she and yeah, that's kind of the beginning of the story, right? And
right,
then
yeah.
yeah, because she's a
And so
Christian as well, specifically,
right,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so you think that maybe at first it's going to be them that she's pregnant with, because it's not entirely clear at first that they're twins, that you think
No,
maybe it's one of the, yeah. So it's might be one of the ones that are like have been you've seen at the beginning, but then it gradually comes clear that so she has the baby, she gets sent to like a kind of like a woman who kind of takes care of her, and then basically or like a what it's like a convent kind of, I don't know, like a
yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing, right? So, and so then she's basically lives there until the baby's born, and then they're immediately gonna take the baby to like basically just
right.
like put it in the river and drown it kind of thing, right?
They
And then
used to
this
be
woman
called like
who's
houses for wayward women or something like that, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
yeah,
exactly, yeah, yeah. So, and so this the I guess her kind of doula, or her kind of the whatever you call them, the woman who helps them give birth,
mm,
she decides that, oh no, I'm gonna keep this baby, right? So I'm gonna take care of it, the boy, right? So, and then they um put three dots of a sort of a tattoo on his
mm,
heel, so that
mm.
it's going to be him later, so they can identify him later. And then she takes him away, and yeah, and so then it's sort of like her kind of going through her life as she ends up like not knowing where to go, so she ends up on a bus, and this bus gets sort of like ravaged by these sort of guerrillas who basically
Mm.
just like let go on the bus and put it
Yeah.
to fire, and then she ends
Well,
up
yeah,
yeah
specifically they're Christian guerrillas, right? Because she
yeah
first hides her Christianity so she can get
mm,
on this bus without any trouble, and then it's hijacked by basically her own, and it's one of the most amazing scenes of the film, I think. I mean, there's a
mm,
lot to admire here, um, but that scene where the bus is attacked is terrifying, and it also
mm,
I've
yes
it's a good example with an economy of like what they show. You really understand someone being radicalized at that point, right?
mm,
Like
sure yeah
because
yeah
she
yeah
just in that moment, there's just this split, and it's not even it's not even theological anymore. There's like a thing where she says something along the lines of like, I want to teach our enemies how I feel. It's
mm,
just,
right yeah
yeah,
yeah
I don't even care about your theology. I don't care about,
mm,
it's just, I was one of you and you did this to me. I can no longer be, I am on the other side. And
mm,
it's really
right
conveyed quite well. And in a way
mm,
that you can just
yeah
instinctively understand, even if you've never given a shit about religion in your life, right?
sure yeah, and how would they would do this on a stage, I have no idea.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah yeah
yeah.
so yeah but yeah so and yeah it's just heart-wrenching. She like there's it's like basically they kill everyone on the bus except for the only people that get down are her and this other woman with her daughter, and she knows that they're basically the guerrillas are on the roof and they're basically gonna they're pouring the gasoline on, they're gonna burn the so she like basically says I'm a Christian and grabs the woman's daughter in an attempt to save at least the kid, because knowing that the
Mm,
woman will never get out of it. And then they she kind of walks off and then they just take the kid and then shoot the kid as well. So it's like
yeah.
real yeah yeah
I
very yeah
What's really interesting about that scene as well, I think, in terms of important iconography, like for us who
mm,
basically grew up like as wasps, right,
mm,
in the Western world, right? If you show that image of young men with automatic rifles and the black hoods and gunning people
mm,
down and the petrol and everything like that, and someone asked you, who do you think they are? You
mm.
would just guess, oh, there's some kind of extreme Islamists or something like that, right?
Yeah mm,
You do not think of like a Christian group in that look, right? But
sure yeah
that
yeah
is
yeah
pretty. I think that stuff's kind of quite authentic. I
mm,
have no reason to second guess that stuff. So that's
right
really
right
interesting, I think.
mm. Okay yeah so yeah, so she kind of lives through that and then becomes and then kind of there's a time jump where she's become sort of a tutor to
Mm,
the daughter of this kind of wealthy guy who's kind of like the head politician of this Christian group, I
right.
guess, right?
Because she
Right.
speaks
And so,
French, right? So yeah,
French,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
she's teaching them French, and she basically has been radicalized, and she's basically like a plant
yeah.
to, and when they yeah, and so they kind of activate her, and then she goes and kills him, and this was a little bit like why wouldn't they have just killed her right there, because there was like all so but instead they took her to prison and they
Mm,
threw her in this kind of like prison with like very small uh kind of rooms, and where she sat for 50 was it 15 16 years 15 years right
16, yeah.
um 16 yeah so and then it turns out they're kind of you're finding out through flashbacks and through the present times where
Right.
the daughter specifically is sort of finding people that kind of knew that kind of thing, and she's finding out information, and then you see a
Yeah.
little bit of
And
the
some people don't
flashback,
want
so
to
you're kind of
talk and yeah.
yeah so
Can I just
you're
interject
putting
at
the
this
pieces
moment as
together
well?
yeah
Just to say, that device is really so again, because I do have problems and we'll get to it, but I just want to say I admire a lot about this film. The one thing I admire is the fact that, like you said, it jumps around in time and without I mean, you do have chapter heading sometimes just about
mm,
with this character now or that character, but you never
right
ever get anything that says like the time and the place they are
the
now.
time period yeah so
It
but you
jumps
just know
and
right so
yeah, and it's amazing because what I like about it is it's seamless. So like without like a title card or something, maybe for a few seconds or something, you're not quite sure which time zone we're in,
mm,
but you're never actually confused as to when we are.
mm.
Like, even though it
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
tell you, I wasn't at least never confused
Mm,
which timeline we were in. And
mm. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
I see
when
what you mean.
it's one of those things we talk about this before. When something's done well, you don't notice it.
Yeah.
So I thought
Sure.
it's well bringing
Hmm.
up. It's worth bringing up. It's really
Yeah.
well done,
Mm.
but the fact that you never get
Absolutely.
confused.
Yeah. Hmm. Um. Yeah, and so you're kind of like piecing the story together as the daughter is as well. And then at some point it kind of switches for the now she says, "No, it's your turn," and the son starts doing the and then so it turns out that she was actually quite kind of famous in this sort of for these revolutionaries as being the woman who sings because
Right,
she was in this prison basically being tortured and raped and for 16 years, and they never broke her, right? She would sing and she would kind of raise everyone's spirits that was in the prison and stuff. And so they
right.
finally released her. So she's become this sort of like almost an icon for these kind of people who believe on this in this
Right.
side. Yeah, and
Another nicely done little scene, I think, the
mm,
moment where we see her kind of sing for the first time just to block out the screams
mm,
of other people.
right.
Like very
Mm,
simple, but like, okay, yeah, no, I understand that. I've never
mm,
had an experience like
mm.
that in my life, but I intuitively understand it from that scene.
Yes, yeah. Um, yeah, and so anyway, so you see, so they're starting to piece it together, and they find sort of the guy that sort of like radicalized her, I guess. Is that the guy in the hotel room that the son met? Was that
Right.
what he
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that so? He's sort of like but he also turns out that he's also the one who, uh, that took so the mother in the past has gone to the orphanage where the son that she had at the very beginning was ostensibly put, and then finds out that it's been bombed. And so, which is another reason why she becomes sort of radicalized as well, right?
Mm,
So they
yeah.
bombed the orphanage with her son in it, and then it turns out that this sort of guy that she was working for was the guy who bombed it, and then took the son and sort of radicalized him, right?
Mm, yeah.
Am I got that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's in the right. So I mean, sometimes I forget which side she's on, right? So, and then yeah, and so then it turns out that the son has become this sort of like sniper, and you see this kind of another really kind of hard hitting scene where, he's the son is in this tower, and it's him because he's got the three dots on his heel, and he's
Mm,
basically just picking off kids,
yeah.
just like shooting kids as for hiding behind this kind of blown out area behind cars and stuff. Um, uh, yeah, and so, but I think um, that was the point where you said that it wasn't war torn now, right? It wasn't war torn now.
Mm.
So that I think that was one part that was supposed to be. Maybe you got that, but I didn't get that specifically because I think one of the other things was supposed to be that you weren't supposed to know that the sniper was in the past.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was purposely vague until you get because that
Ah,
makes
okay.
the ending like the twist ending. So that's
Right.
why I said it was going to war time because you're not really sure how big the war is in the present tense, right? In the present time,
Okay.
in the
Okay.
present time. So I think that's the idea that at least I thought, or I think you're supposed to think that the sniper is in the modern times, and that's where he is
Oh, okay. I
now,
just assumed it
right?
was
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So um, so
We
then
should
anyway
say actually
they.
the one thing I suppose that is maybe a bit like if you were to look into it in great detail, I'm not quite sure if the timelines and people's ages and things
Mm,
quite add up in this film.
mm,
But that was only something I was thinking about after I finished it. While you're watching it, it doesn't, it's not like glaringly like, but afterwards
mm.
I was like, hang on, when was like some of it's a bit, yeah, but it doesn't really matter, I suppose. But it doesn't
Right.
seem to
Yeah.
quite fit, right, in terms of how old
Mm,
people are supposed to be and stuff like that, right?
I'm sure. Well, maybe
Yeah.
maybe if you kind of like maybe people were younger than they or they are older than they look, or vice
Yeah,
versa,
maybe.
kind
Yeah,
of
like
stuff.
I said,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
So
not a
yeah. Mm,
major point at all.
right,
I'm
right.
not at all while watching it, I don't think.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so finally you find out that the twins that have been kind of the theme, like this thread through this whole story, were actually born in the prison. And so the one that was born at the beginning was their long lost brother, right? So that
Mhm.
they're kind of now searching for. And yeah, and then we're getting into spoiler territory, I think, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean, like I
yeah,
said, if you need to make a if you need to bring it up to make a point about something, we can do it. We've spoiled films before, but if we can avoid it, I think we probably should, just because I think it is one of the big surprise reveals, I think, that is worth kind of experiencing yourself, right? I
mm,
think if you can.
sure, yeah. So
Um,
I would say yeah, go watch this movie if you like twist endings, because it definitely has a something you because
yeah, yeah,
and I can't believe it, like I'm just shocked at myself that I actually forgot about what the
that,
twist ending was.
yeah,
'Cause I remember it being a twist ending, but I couldn't remember what it was, and I was watching the whole thing. I was like, oh, wasn't it just that the brother was the sniper? Oh, I was like, oh, I just
yeah.
totally
Oh,
slipped my
that
mind. So
surprises me because that
anyway,
is the main thing I
yeah.
think I will remember from
Yeah,
this film.
yes. I'm surprised at myself. I don't
Yeah.
know how I did that, but anyway, yes, it was yeah, like quite yeah, something you really I mean, did you see it coming?
Oh no, 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 no,
No,
no,
no.
no,
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
no.
so yeah, okay. Okay.
Um,
Yeah. So it's something you don't really generally see coming, and that really kind of shocks you a little bit. So
yeah. It's
and meant to
also
be, right? So
it's weirdly it's kind of it's weirdly the thing that I it's the thing about the film that actually makes it something kind of special, but it's also at the same time the source of all the problems I have with the film as well, if you see what I mean.
uh
So it's like,
mm,
if you're thinking just
okay.
in terms of a like a you know, and it is absorbing, it is well done, it is, you know,
Mm.
it's definitely an interesting watch all the way. Because I don't know why, when you told me about this and I looked it up, of that very irrational part of my brain started going, "Ugh, I don't watch this."
I had a feeling you probably were
Yeah.
like that. So
Ugh.
but I was like, I
Someone
feel
has
like you
to
might
go
kind of
to the Middle East and discover that, like just that stupid bit
but
of my brain.
to be fair, not a movie that I would usually choose though, right? Yeah, I don't really generally choose movies
No,
like
I
this,
guess
right?
not.
So yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
So that's why I thought maybe you might be more inclined
Right.
to kind of like, oh, okay, this is interesting then. So
Yeah,
right,
so it
yeah.
did
So
have to win me over. I definitely did go in with a certain kind of arms. I'm not going to like this.
oh,
I'm
really?
playing the
I thought
rod.
you would have been right into this kind of thing. So
But no,
anyway,
five,
so
10 minutes in,
anyway,
I was like, oh, okay, I'm kind
yeah.
of intrigued. And it was, yeah.
Mm,
But the thing is, the thing with the reveal and twist is just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's like, at the risk of being spoilerific here, let's just say we're in old boy like territory. Let's just say that,
yeah.
right? Let's just
Old
say that.
boy or yeah.
But the thing with Old Boy, for example, is this very almost well, it is based on a comic. It's this kind of thriller, very much based in modern day Korea, and that's the confines of it. And like, it doesn't allude to any other larger kind of real conflict in the world, right? And
Mm,
the thing with this film, there's like this thing of like, why did you have to bring in all the real world conflict and pain and hurt and stuff in the world? Because it feels almost as if you're cheapening that real life horror for the sake of your film. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm pretty sure the twist came, and I can't speak for the play because I don't know how the play
mm,
works, right?
mm,
But judging by the film alone, it was just like, yeah. I mean, when you start addressing like things like, even if you're doing it obliquely, once you start talking about stuff like, you know, the Lebanese Civil War, and it's, I don't know, it just seems like a little bit like, did you have to bring all that into it to make your twisty-turny thriller thing. It just seems like a little bit, I don't know, something a little bit sordid about it. But at the same time,
Mm.
Denis
But again, it was
Villeneuve,
based on someone who probably lived through something like this, right?
well, yeah, apart from that very specific twist element, right? Which is,
Well, we
yeah.
don't know, right?
No, no,
So
no. And
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, you make a good point. It is entirely possible that this is something that has happened, right? Like it's
Mm,
not, I'm not saying that's why I'm not out and out. I'm not angry at the film in any way, shape, or
mm,
form. I'm not saying you
mm,
shouldn't do that. I'm just slightly trepidatious about, like, and this brings me to the wider thing about Villeneuve. 'Cause I very much admire Denis Villeneuve, and I like Denis Villeneuve. I like some
mm,
films more than others. But the
mm.
one thing I'm not quite 100% sure about Denis Villeneuve is, how can I say, like, there's a like a there's a cinematic sentimentality, or like a he has no fear about audience manipulation, right? Like in
Mm.
almost all his films, like he is not afraid to manipulate you emotionally, right? He's very manipulative, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
That's yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a bad thing. I think that
No,
some of the best filmmakers do that, right? I mean,
yes, but it
that's
it it just feels, I don't
some
know.
may argue that's the point of film is to manipulate you
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
believing
No, no,
something.
I'm not anti. I know some people are anti. They don't like it at all. But
Yeah.
but I don't know. Denis Villeneuve is still. I tend to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he's a bit like some of his films don't, like Arrival, for example,
Mm.
was an extremely well made film, but then was almost undercut by its, aren't we all a little bit though, aren't we? Deep down, that ending almost ruined the rest of the film for me, right? Because it
Well, but
was
it's interesting that you mentioned that because Arrival has almost the same kind of structure and plot twist at the end. Not
kind of,
the
yeah,
same plot twist, but also had a plot twist. Also had sort of different timelines
yes,
that actually you didn't realize at the time, but that's a spoiler for
yes,
that movie, I guess, right? Sorry, but
but
that it's actually
yeah,
multiple
but
timelines that equals a spoiler,
yeah, but
equals
that one,
the plot twist at the
even
end, right? So
straight out the gate, Arrival starts manipulating you like almost in the first scene, right? Like
mm,
that's like straight out. It's like, oh, okay. Um, the other one that it reminded me of in a different way, because I was talking about like the logist, and also you start thinking about, so why did the mother decide to tell them this in this really roundabout, weird way? And the
yeah,
lawyer,
yeah, I
like you were
guess.
mentioning, didn't at some point step in and say, like, I think, to be honest, I want to honor your mother's request, but she's fucking nuts, and it's better if I just tell you
Just open
this.
these.
Yeah,
Let me just tell
yeah,
you, I already know the
yeah,
answer. So
yeah.
yeah,
And that reminded me a little bit of another Denis
because they
Villeneuve.
were, I mean, despite the fact that it's maybe not war torn at that point, they were still putting themselves in quite a bit
It's
of
still
danger
opening
in several
up a lot of
points.
can of worms. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, there was like that gangster,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
They
mean,
could have
I
been
mean,
shot
yeah,
in the head at any time, really.
absolutely, many times, right? So it's yeah, I
Yeah,
do think it's a little strange that she would want them. I mean, I understand the idea of like the following the story and not just telling them, but actually being having to go and
right.
experience. And I
Yeah,
kind of get that idea where you have to go and meet the people that met me. But of course, there's no guarantee that she would actually find those people or those people were still
no,
there or alive or
yeah.
that they would actually solve the
Yeah, it's kind
mystery
of
in
a
the end,
weird
right? So because
dichotomy, isn't it? Because on the one
yeah.
hand, you're thinking like, wow, she's taught them a really important experience with it. And then at the same time, you're thinking, what a shit mother. Like,
Well, I think that was the point was that she
yeah,
was kind
yeah,
of a
yeah.
shit mother the whole thing. But because I
But
mean,
just to,
technically she hated them, right? I mean, when you look it back, I mean, again,
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
avoid the
yeah. Well,
spoilers,
you could read
but
it
I
that
mean,
way for
like
sure. Yeah, yeah,
you could arrange
yeah.
that, yeah, maybe she actually hated them their whole life, right? So,
But just to get back to my point, the thing that element of it reminded me of was the other Denis Villeneuve film, Sicario, which I know a lot of
mm,
people really like as well. And
mm,
similarly, Sicario was one of those films I could. admire like it's directed up the fucking wazoo, right? Like it's got really
Mm,
well orchestrated scenes and stuff. But I remember while
mm,
watching Sicario, there were certain bits, and I can't remember the specifics, it was years ago, but I remember watching certain bits of it and thinking, why would they do like it looks it makes for a great cinematic scene, but
mm,
logistically, that group of people would never do that. They would
mm,
never do it. They just wouldn't do it. There's no reason for them to do it, but it makes for a cool cinematic scene, right? And I
mm.
feel as if a little bit
But I
the
mean, how many movies do that?
yeah,
I
no,
mean,
no,
there's
no, but
lots of.
no,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I think sometimes I'm overly critical of things that I'm actually almost really like. Do you know what I mean? Like if something's
I see.
crap,
Yeah.
it's just crap,
Mm.
But
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah. Sure.
things, and I think for me,
If it's
the
good, but it's
cinema
like
of
it's so close, so
exactly the
close.
cinema of
Yeah,
Denis
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Villeneuve,
So.
a lot of
Mm,
it is that. I think we
mm,
talked about this when I
mm.
we talked about my
Uh,
favorite Denis Villeneuve Enemy, right? And we went
Enemy,
through
right? Yeah.
some of the other films, right? And
Mm,
and that's the thing that's slightly irritating is he's so close to making something really great. That's why it's annoying when it doesn't quite. And we were talking about, so the next one I've decided I'm going to watch, the next Denis Villeneuve I'm going to watch is, I think it's the one he made maybe just before this, Polytechnique, which is
oh, I
based
haven't
on
seen that one yet. So
yeah, based on a real
like
mass shooting that happened in
mass
Quebec.
shooting. Yeah, in
Yeah,
Quebec. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's the
At
next
UCOM,
Denis
I think.
Villeneuve I'm going to try. And who knows,
Mm,
that might work really well. That might be my new favorite. Because this was so close to like being up there with Enemy in a way. And in some ways,
mm,
it's actually it's a much more accomplished film in some way,
mm,
but because it is not quite, uh, I would urge people to watch it though. I think it's definitely worth a
mm,
watch.
yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
And I don't know, are
Okay.
you
Well,
do you know what I mean, or were you a bit more
I
pro
can see
or
where you're
not?
coming from. Yeah. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like if they only they hadn't have that. But I feel like, but again, as you said, if it's like but if it didn't have that, then it would have been wouldn't the movie wouldn't have worked, or it wouldn't have been it would have
Right.
been a different movie, right? So yeah, I think it's sort of like a what do you want out of the movie? Do you want the experience, or do you want to nitpick the the discrepancies, or the things you
Yes,
or the things you
yes.
think don't make sense, right? So
Just
yeah,
to
so I
reiterate how almost great it is, I even kind of didn't have a problem with the use of Radiohead songs.
yes, that was what I was gonna. I was like, I bet you he fucking hates this.
I don't hate Radiohead, though. That's the thing. I think you might think I don't hate Radiohead, but
Okay.
they do kind of they are a bit representative of a
Mm.
certain kind of thing
Yeah,
that
that's right.
seems
That's
a
why
bit
I thought I had a
intellectually
feeling you were gonna
suspect,
be like,
right? Yeah.
I had feel like that was the thing, is that maybe you didn't necessarily dislike Radiohead, but I think you disliked Radiohead in this movie, or the way
Yeah, or
it was
what
being
they
used. So
represent or something like that.
yeah,
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 yeah. No,
yeah,
bang,
sure,
you're
yeah,
quite
yeah,
right
yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You are
yeah. So I
learning
kind of
about
I
me.
yes. Well, if it has to do with music, I assume I always
Right.
assume the worst. So yeah, so yeah. But yeah, but yes, definitely worth a look. I'm glad you at least got on. I'm glad at least you came around in the end, and that you kind of weren't like this the whole
No,
time,
no,
and
no,
like,
no,
well,
no,
you
no,
didn't
no,
like this.
no,
So yeah, so at
it
least
did.
yeah, so
And it was an
yeah.
uphill battle for the film against my childishness. So that in itself is a little triumph for it. But no, it's
Okay,
definitely
good.
it is a film. It's actually one of those films, even though it's certainly nowhere near one of my favorite films or anything like that. It is a film I would be very interested in my life bumping into people who've seen it and like talking about
Ah,
it. Do you know what I mean? I think
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just on a cinematic level, I suppose, just in terms of yeah, where do you stand on all these issues, and is this earned, or
Mm,
can you do this? And but no, no, I'm
mm,
certainly interested to see a Denis Villeneuve film, whether you like it or not. At the end of the day, is always probably worth a look. It seems to me.
mm.
Um,
Absolutely, yeah. And
yeah.
I've talked to you about this. I really like his aesthetic and his cinematography and the way he frames shots and does
Oh, they
stuff.
always
And
look good.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
yeah, it's like
yeah,
he's just he has beautiful films, right? So I think he's just, I think, yeah, I'm if it's a Denis Villeneuve film, I'm always up for it. Yeah, yeah. He's even made me come around to enjoy Dune movies, which I was not a big fan of Dune in general, but I've actually quite liked the Dune movies.
Right.
Mm.
Have you read Dune, the book?
No, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it's a bit out of my. Yeah, it's the I might give it a try one of these days, but I think it's not exactly my cup of tea. But
No, no, I wouldn't
yeah,
get your hopes up because
yeah,
I've come to realize that, and I haven't seen the second part yet, but I like the first. I saw the first Denis Villeneuve film in the
mm,
theater, and I liked it well enough.
mm,
And obviously, I like the Lynch one because
mm.
it's Lynch kind of smashing into Hollywood, and it's fascinating.
Sure, yeah,
But I think the problem with Dune, and I know obviously it has rabid fans, is just
mm.
basically the source material isn't that interesting, I don't think.
Isn't that good? Yes, I think it's yeah, I think it's a little yeah, it's a
Yeah,
little
the
dry
Denis
and yeah. So
Villeneuve films are probably about as good a film as you'll get out of that source material.
well, that's what I mean. Is that yeah? So it's something that I'm not really that into the source material that much, but I think he makes it interesting
Mm.
and interesting to watch. So I think I liked part two even more than part one. So
Yeah, I haven't
I
seen it
guess
yet. And of course, in the first one, I know she's in the second as well, is show favorite, Charlotte Rampling,
right. Yes.
uh, who's always worth
Very good. Yeah.
seeing. I saw her
Hmm.
in, what did I watch in? Oh yeah, so me and Darren did. Actually, we probably should have invited. You're being invited onto our new show soon, but you probably should have been invited on. Actually, thinking about it, when we did Todd Solondz's Happiness,
Oh, really? You did Happiness?
because
Oh,
I would
really?
imagine you'd
Yeah.
have a lot to say about that film.
I probably do. Yes. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it since it came out in the 90s, but I still have quite relatively vivid memories of at least how I
Yeah,
reacted to that movie. So yeah.
yeah, it holds up. So I
Mm.
ended up watching just as background. So there's a sequel to
Yes, I heard that. Yeah. So
Life During Wartime,
right.
which
Mm.
is not it's not. Well, we talked about this in the show. We don't have to go into it, but basically, it's a bit like so. The I read when Todd Solondz was making Happiness. Originally, he intended it to be almost that it looked like a sitcom. It was like a satire of a sitcom, right?
Mm.
But it
Mm.
kind
Mm.
of morphed into being something more. But weirdly
Mm.
enough, the sequel, Life During Wartime, I think is kind of actually closer to what a soap opera satire would look like.
Mm. Mm.
Anyway, not as good, but kind of interesting. And Charlotte Rampling is in it, and she's fucking
Mm.
awesome in that film. She's
Mm.
really.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, are we
Cool.
done with Incendies?
Yeah, I think
I'm just
so.
look over my notes here if I've got anything else. Yeah, like you, I'm very curious as to what the play might look like.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I should look that up and maybe I'll have an addendum in the future
is it
about what
something
that.
I don't imagine that's ever been. No one's put that on here, right? None of the
Oh, I
usual.
don't think so. I think you need very specific. It's certain plays that you need very specific like ethnic groups to put on
R-
a play like that,
right,
right? So yeah,
right.
yeah.
Um, yes. So yeah, Carnage, Roman Polanski. So my response was to go the Roman Polanski route, and I thought, why choose one film when I can choose eight? And so, but it's
Speaking of
legitimate.
sitting like this and go, hmm.
No, it's legitimate enough because I did choose Polanski's early short films, and they are mostly
Right.
very short. So it's
Mm,
about adds up to watching a short feature. And
yeah.
these are available. I'm sure there is a disc which is just the shorts of Roman Polanski, or there's like I
Mm,
think The Knife in the Water, his debut film. I think the Criterion second disc has them all
mm.
collected as so it's a legit and you didn't kick up a fuss. I was
Yeah.
half waiting for the mail that was oh god damn it eight but I thought well once he figures out they're all quite short he'll he'll be
Yeah.
quiet and you were
Yeah.
good boy.
I'd stopped complaining about shit like that because it's like every complaining every
I
time,
didn't
right?
have to
So
run out
yeah.
to the
Although
kennel.
I did have I don't know because like again I have to like do transposition or whatever because I have to change the format and stuff because I watch
Ah,
it kind of on the go, so I need to put it on my
ah,
and the two like 1 2 minute ones
yes.
had no sound at all, and I wasn't sure if that was something that had problem with my download or if it was the transition or that there was meant to be. But and then for some reason I I when I was transferring all the files, I transferred all of the subtitles, but for some reason the subtitles didn't go. And at first I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta wait until I get home to watch all this shit. But then it turns out that all of them are almost all silent, with the exception of like a couple lines here and there. So,
Um, yeah, that's about right actually. Yeah, there's hardly any
yeah.
dialogue in any of
Any
these, really.
dialogue at all. Yeah. So, yeah. And
Yeah.
nothing that you need to know. So, that ended up being okay. So,
So yeah, so these date from 1957 to 1959. Polanski, when he was in Lodz, a film school in Lodz, in Poland. I guess he's in his mid-20s, right? And you can see him in a couple of them. He looks fucking 12, doesn't he? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, he's. I mean, I know he's a little fella, but he's really like where because like there's a few like in the fourth, if you watch them chronologically, he turns up like in the fourth one or something, and watching them, you kind of you admire. Oh, this is a man who kind of understands, the look of cinema to a certain extent,
Mm.
even though he's just starting off. And then you look at him, and you're like, really, this paper boy is making these films. That's kind of, yeah, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we'll go what I believe the chronology is. So we start off with, and so these are all largely black and white,
Mm.
with one of them in particular having bursts of color. But yeah, so these are all black and white. This first one, Break Up the Dance. It's 8 minutes
Mm.
long. There's a dance party with like a jazz, band, big band jazz, for the youth. Some people are locked out, some like juvenile delinquent types. They jump the gate, come in and beat up everyone, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
They break up the dance.
yeah, they do indeed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bit difficult. I mean, clearly out the gate, he kind of understands cinema, right? He understands cinematic narrative, and it all
Mm.
looks quite, good and
Mm.
nicely shot and everything. But I don't know. I don't really have anything to say much about Break Up the
Yeah,
Dance.
I don't know that we need to necessarily talk unless with some exceptions, we don't need to talk about each one
No, no.
individually. I think probably it's more
We
of like
will
a whole
race
thing. Yeah,
through
so
them, and then we'll
yeah,
dwell
yeah,
on the
so yeah.
interesting ones. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
think yeah. So I think some of them are very very simple. Like the murder
yeah.
one
That's the
is
next one,
yeah, yeah.
which is only a
Okay,
minute and
yeah.
a half long.
Yeah. And it's a guy walks in,
Murder
kills the
someone.
guy sitting in bed, and then leaves. And then
Yeah,
you see his face, and he leaves. Yeah. So that
yeah.
was the whole.
I
I was like, so
really
it's
have nothing to say about that.
yeah, yeah. It's very like, oh, okay, it was a murder. Yeah, okay, well titled. Yeah.
The next one is a bit more, and not much more to it. This one's just under 2 minutes. A toothful smile or teeth smile,
Right.
and this is basically someone peeping through some. I don't know exactly how the logistics here work, but he's found some kind of way to peep into a woman's bathroom, right? I
Right.
suppose shades of The Tenant years later, right?
Right. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But he's looking, and then he gets distracted by some dude, and then goes and has a look again, and uh, yeah, this actually did kind of make me laugh. It was kind of quite funny when he looks through and it's the guy brushing his teeth. Like I did actually go,
Yeah.
like it's quite a good little one gag
Yeah.
kind of
Sure.
short film, right?
It's like yeah. It's like a
Yeah,
yeah
and
silent
through
film short gag.
and through all these things, you can it is interesting. I think it is a good example of a young filmmaker, like just someone's kind of like, dude, don't fucking just come up with just one idea. That's it. La small, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to
Mm.
be great, and then you use it as an excuse to build your craft, right? And all of these films, even from the beginning, they all look really good. I'm surprised how good they look in terms of like the
Mm.
lighting
Yeah.
and things like that. Like they look
Right.
terrific. Like
Right. Yeah.
considering what the actual story is, I mean,
Yeah.
it probably took longer to make than you think it did, right?
Sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, Things open up a lot more with two men with a wardrobe. This
Right.
one's a whopping 14 minutes
Mm,
with a couple of dudes coming out of the sea with a
mm.
wardrobe and then kind of walk around the city with a wardrobe and get into different hijinks, right?
Yes, yeah. Hilarity ensues.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. This is one of the more elaborate ones, and I thought bits of it were funny. I kind of laughed when they tried to go into a restaurant and they told them
Ah,
to
yeah.
get out.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah,
quite
yeah. No, what
funny.
are you doing? You can't go for that, yeah. So,
And I was wondering if it was a bit of a reference to Buñuel's Un Chien Andalou, Buñuel and Dali's short film, right? But yeah, it's a bit more though. There's a few of these that lean more into like comedy
mm.
territory, a bit more farcical,
Yeah,
and
it was quite farce. Yeah, it
almost
was very
yeah,
slapsticky, like, yeah, Buster Keaton-y kind
yeah,
of, yeah, yeah. Charlie
leaning
Chaplin, a
slightly
little bit.
too much into
Actually,
almost
a
mime-like
little bit,
territory for my
yeah,
liking.
mime, and also a little bit like Three Stooges, but without the, yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit
well,
like
that's all
that,
right. I
kind
don't
of
mind that.
sped up a little bit. Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
but the
there's that kind,
comedy,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think I'm trying to think actually if yeah, that might be the thing. I think I tend to prefer these when there's less comedy.
Hmm,
The more comedic ones kind of left me a bit more
right.
cold.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it
I mean,
might be the
I
opposite with
think
you.
this
I don't know.
one. Well, no, I mean, I think this one had, yeah, I was basically the same. Is that I think it was a bit like it seemed like, I mean, all of these movies all together seemed like it was almost like him, like finding his footing as a filmmaker, right?
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely. Yeah,
him. It's like almost like these were student films. I don't know if I don't think he was a student at the time, but
he was a student. These
um,
are his student
it was
films. Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So okay. So these are okay. So there you go. So I mean, yeah, these are the type of films that you might expect a film student to make, right? So we're like
yes,
playing around with form and like mise en scène and character and story and
yeah,
and so this was his attempt at sort of broad comedy kind of thing, right? So and it didn't always work, but I could see what he was kind of doing there and how he was playing with timing and different situations and stuff. So and I think overall I can see it was like his attempt at comedy, which ultimately I think I can see where he was going with it. So, which is the point. So,
right. And of course, very few student filmmakers then grow up to be Roman Polanski. So then people go back and release all their student films, right? So
sure,
yeah.
exactly right. Yeah.
So up next is The Lamp, 7 minutes long. And if IMDb trivia is to be believed, this is the one he disowns, right? This is the one he doesn't like.
Oh,
And this was my
oh.
favorite.
uh,
Yeah, like a doll maker's house, and he seems to get an
uh,
electric lamp installed, which is not a good thing because then the shop catches fire, and that is literally
and
it.
burns them.
But
Yeah.
it's creepy. I mean,
Yeah, because you
doll
see all the
makers are
dolls
creepy
burning.
anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like you
I went.
watch this man making the doll in this, and he's very skilled and everything, but you can't help thinking there's something wrong with you that you do this for a living.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Like,
But also like I mean you're saying it was shades of the Buñuel. I wonder if this
mm.
was shades of the last Buñuel we watched with the melting mannequin and stuff, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So it was yeah, I don't know. I thought of that when I was watching it, which is
Okay.
like sort of like the
But I
yeah.
really liked this one, and what I really liked as well is the soundtrack because it's this weird kind of avant-garde kind of mix of noise, but it's really low in the mix. Like you can
Mm,
hardly hear it, but
mm,
it's there, and it's I found this short deeply creepy, and it's my favorite of the bunch. But didn't
okay.
particularly affect you one way or the other,
Yeah, I was sort of like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see why you might think it's creepy, and definitely the dolls are generally creepy in general, but
right?
I don't think dolls are as creepy as you do maybe do. But
Maybe.
yeah, yeah, it was sort of just like, okay, yeah, another one dealing with almost like maybe this was his attempt at horror, his attempt at sort of like pyrotechnics, and so it was. I mean, it was again decent. It was a decent attempt at telling a short story that was all there.
Interestingly, though, yes, I may find dolls more creepy than you, but also
Yeah.
paradoxically at the same time, I'm more likely to fuck a doll than you would, I think. I think that's more likely to happen.
that is probably true. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Yeah.
So next, When Angels Fall, 22 minutes long. This is the one that has bursts of color, and this is about
Right.
an old woman latrine attendant kind of
Mm. Mm.
thinking back over her life, right?
Right. Yep.
This is quite an impressive little short, I would say.
I would say this is the one I like the most. Yeah. So
I
I think
thought
I
it
kind of,
might be, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, really? Why?
yeah. I don't know. I just thought it would be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think, yeah,
You
this
love
one
old
is,
women and latrines, that's why.
yeah, sure. This one, like, quite clearly has, I mean, the other ones are just very simple stories. A guy walks in, kills you, leaves. It's a murder, right? Two guys in a wardrobe, walking around with a wardrobe, two guys in a
Mm.
wardrobe, right? So, but this one was an attempt at sort of it had cinema sort of techniques, like the kind of like the fading into like the memories so that you
Yeah,
can see kind of like, kind of so using those kind of tropes idea. And also I had an emotional kind of
yeah,
resonance to it, and had the most like closely to a full story, right? So like there's a
right.
beginning, middle, and end to this whole thing. So I think, of course, it's the longest of the eight,
Yes,
which allows more. So, but yeah, it definitely has more. I had more kind of emotional connection with what was happening with this one than any of the other ones. So,
right. Really beautiful
mm,
colors, or the color when it happens is
yeah, yeah,
really
really cool.
gorgeous.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also the young the actress who plays the old woman when she's younger,
Hmm.
Barbara Lass, was the
Right.
first Mrs. Roman Polanski
Oh, okay.
for a few years. And yeah, she's also the star of the film Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory, if you've
Hmm.
ever seen that.
Okay. No.
Um, and also is in Rafifi at Tokyo and was in some Fassbinder films. So she's kind of got an
Oh.
interesting little career
Mhm.
herself.
Okay. Yeah.
And the camera loves her as well. She's is a very good
Mm.
looking
Mm.
woman. Yeah, no, where When Angels Fall is definitely, yeah, I can see why some people, if you had to choose one of these from a fire, it would be the
Mm.
one, right? It's the one that shows the
Right. Yeah.
most promise in a way.
Promise
Yeah.
as a filmmaker. Yeah. So. Mhm.
Yeah, so we've got two left. I mean, I have not much to say about The Fat and the
Mm.
Lean, um,
Yeah.
co-starring
Yeah.
Roman Polanski,
Uh,
who's now
uh,
looking slightly older. He looks like 16 maybe in this one.
right. Yeah. Sure.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
This one
there's
again
a
was a little bit more comic, kind of the
yeah,
idea,
yeah,
but
yeah.
but
These
also
last two,
comic with
yeah, yeah,
comic, but also with obviously some sort of like a satirical bent, like obviously
right.
like a trying to make a point, a social political
Yes.
point about like the class systems and stuff like that. So, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it was okay. This one was okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. I
It was a
wouldn't watch
bit
it again, I
it,
don't think.
it this yeah, but this one was a bit. I think it's funny that, I mean, how long was this one? It was like 15 minutes or
15
something.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like this one, like almost could be shorter. I would say
Yes,
like, even though
agreed.
it's only 15 minutes, this one would have been better had it been shorter. Had it been like sort of like a da, 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 finish. Okay, I
Yeah.
get the point for that one.
It's an
But that one
odd
kind of it kind of stretched on a little bit too much. This
yeah,
one,
it's
I
an
think
odd
so.
step backwards a little bit from When Angels
Mm,
Fall in a way.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And somewhat in the same territory is Mammals, the last one, 11 minutes. Great
Uh,
opening shot of the guy
mm,
running to the screen and pulling someone on a sled. I thought that was quite good.
right. Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
basically
yeah.
some couple of fuckwits in the snow, right? Is just fucking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, real slapstick, like farcical comedy where, one's pulling one, comes off, and then switch, and then he pulls the other one, and then switches the other one, and then
Yeah,
pulls the other one, and so then he keeps taking turns, and then yeah, to the point where it culminates at the end where they've lost the sled, and so one carries one on the back for like 2 steps, and he jumps off, and then carries the other one for two steps.
right.
Just
Yeah.
fucking walk, guys. It was
Yeah.
like,
The
yeah,
only
so
thing that I found interesting about this, so one of the, not the two main guys, but one of the other people in it is a Wojtek Frykowski. And that name, as soon as I read it, I was like, why the fuck do I know that name, Wojtek Frykowski. Like it's like one of those names that's burnt on my brain, and I couldn't
Mm.
figure out why. And he's not in any other films. But it turns out he was Polanski's one of his like old friends who was killed along with Sharon Tate by the Manson gang.
Oh, he was. Oh, okay, he was in
Yeah.
that house. Okay.
Yeah. He
Oh, okay.
was. I was wondering, why do I know that name? And that's why, because he was just over
Mm,
visiting or whatever, wrong
right.
place, wrong time, and
Wrong place. Really wrong time. Yeah.
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 So yes, and then like yeah, 1962, Roman Polanski makes his feature debut with Knife in the Water, which is a great.
Mm,
I haven't seen it in years, but a great film from
mm,
what I remember. So yeah, but this is leading up to it, right? So, and I
mm.
think if you are a Polanski fanatic, then it's kind of worth. I mean, the whole thing altogether, if you watch them all in one go, it's less than an hour and
Mm.
a half, right? And some of them are
Yeah.
quite interesting,
Like
and
easy miss. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, yeah. There's definitely like it's. I mean, from a film student's perspective, like it's sort of like a someone who's studying film, this would be really important to see, I think. So
yeah, quite
to see almost
inspiring in a
like a
way. Yeah.
it's inspiring to see like the progression and the how he's working out certain things and working with things and working things out for himself and learning how to do things. And so it was interesting in that case. I mean, some of them you could take them or leave them in terms of the actual film themselves, but yeah, it definitely you could. It was interesting in that you got to see him learning. He was learning from it. So
Right. Yeah. So
yeah,
there you go. That's the
yeah.
shorts of Roman Polanski. Yeah.
Although the only thing that really made me like this is that
Yeah.
you always seem to choose like the hardest fucking things to respond to. Now, how are we supposed to
Ah,
respond to this shit?
yeah. You're gonna
Yeah.
maybe choose that classic film, Three Men and Valets or something, or you'll find a way, Ron. You always do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Fear not.
Sure. I'm sure.
So yeah, we'll be back next time responding in one way or another to the 8 short films of Roman Polanski.
Right.
Until then.
All right. David. Bye bye.